Again, for the record, Dr. Adewumi Adeola Akimbo. You can always find the opportunity to meet me either online, and those contact numbers will be shared. But let me go quickly into the introduction of the topic itself. Gender-sensitive ICT policy impact via community net. The digital age offers immense, significant opportunities that are not always equally distributed. You and I know that there's a gender digital divide, a significant gap that exists in the area of access, use, skills, and impact of information and communication technologies between men and women. The last time we did a survey, we had a ratio of 35 to 55. 35 meaning that women were 35% given opportunities or had access to opportunities to be able to be recognized within the ICT sector, which is a far cry from the 55 that we men get. There have been questions raised. Is it that women are not consulted? Is it that women are not involved? All of these are the questions as an organization or a foundation you would have to answer at the end of the day. Why gender-sensitive policy? ICT policies must be designed and implemented with an understanding of gender dynamics to ensure equitable release and avoiding exacerbating existing inequalities. The average person in the rural area is different from the average person in the urban area. So these are certain things or certain inequalities that you and I must begin to consider, not because we want it to be, but sometimes that is how the stakeholders or those who desire to develop policies around ICT issues, around access, availability, affordability, are always looking at. Another challenge that we often find is the fact that while more women want to come into ICT, some stereotypes do not encourage them to want to fit in. As a foundation, you would have to take a charge and take your course to the face of those who are either writing the policies or who are either in charge of ensuring that the execution of the policies come to life. In fact, we may be lucky enough to become part of those, one, who make the policies, two, who execute the policies, three, who ensure the monitoring of the policies so that it can be gender sensitive. Why community networks? Are community networks a solution? Yes, they are a solution because one way or the other, the awareness the average young person or the woman is receiving is very poor. Who is to blame? Government is to blame, families are to blame, individuals are to blame, and then finally organizations such as us may become one of those to be blamed if we do not take action. And when I say if we do not take action, I mean it in all sense of sincerity. Recently, I was able to attend a program organized by Tech Society. And my pledge, Tech Society, at that point in time was that I was going to go all out to ensure that I advocated and let people understand the challenges the women is facing when it comes to ICT policy. When we decided to have working groups, I chose the community-based training group, which is to take it to the grassroots, to ensure that there's capacity in all grassroots locations around us. And it is very, very welcoming when your leader and member, Liberty Seriki, reached out and said, I should come and be part of the speaker's platform, which of course is an honor to share this particular solution. Community-led initiatives offer a unique opportunity to implement gender-sensitive policies at the grassroots level by first of all creating awareness and letting stakeholders, when we say stakeholders, local leaders, local representatives, community development associations, royalty, the king or KBAC or Bali, whichever one it is, at the local government to understand that we are here. That means supporting women or women who understand and have the technical skill, the capability to ensure that the capacity moves them forward in a country of our nation. And I'm not talking of just Nigeria, I'm going beyond and talking about Africa in general. But starting with Beyond Saving Lives Foundation, I believe we can grow to that extent. Moving on, we need to understand gender digital divide. Well, when we say gender digital divide, what is keeping the gender away? Why do we think? Is it something that's natural or unnatural? So if you have your questions, please just put them in the chat room so that by the end of this discussion, I can always address them. One of four is access. Fewer women than men have access to internet-enabled devices and reliable internet connections globally and in many local, either because it is expensive and the woman cannot afford it, or some people believe that the woman doesn't actually need a phone because she is the one in charge of the house, or the lady in question does not have that to take charge of the purpose she can actually serve in the community. The use of those assets. Women use the internet less frequently or for a narrow range of purpose than men. And these are other issues women always face when it comes to stereotype. They say, the women would love to buy an iPhone instead of an Android phone. That's a stereotype. Not right, but the truth is, it happens. So we need to let more women understand. You buy it, you own it, you take charge, and you use it to control the community. Impact, what impact? The benefits derived from ICT, such as economic opportunity, access to information, and political participation, may be unevenly distributed along gender lines, but we can always correct all of this with our attitude and our attention, our focus on ensuring that we are properly armed and true to respond to all of these issues. I mentioned access, I mentioned the use, I mentioned skills, and I mentioned impact. Moving forward, why a gender lens in ICT policy community network? Why are we focusing on gender in policy, and we are stereotyping it or limiting it community network? Community networks are like, back in those days, they were like little libraries within our community, where you can walk in, read a book, and take your leave, where you can come and do your assignment, and take your leave, where you can meet people of like minds and decide, let's form a group, and you begin to work on certain things within that community. That was what community networks started at. With the advent of the internet, we stepped it up by adding the internet to it. In adding the internet to it, we wanted people to be able to use the link of networks to understand more things beyond their reach. So there are books that may not be on your shelf, but there are information that is right there on that platform. Some of us started with a platform like Jive, if I'm not wrong, Jive, Ask, before the advent of Google. And we all know what Google can do now, even especially with the advent of AI, artificial intelligence. Let's go to three key things that I would want to take out from why the lens on ICT policy and community network. There are tailored solutions that you and I can always go to. Community networks can develop policies that directly addresses the specific barrier faced by women in their local context. So in my own village, basically because they are not too educated, the phone can be used in such a way to educate them to be able to handle their goods and markets in such a way and manner that they can document it, and then with the assistance of one or two persons, be able to network and market it or sell it online. Secondly, involving women in the planning, design, and governance of community network ensures their needs and perspectives are considered. So this is empowerment from the ground up, which is something that Beyond Saving Lives can take up as one of your major projects. Empowering not just women, but everyone. Because the idea is when you empower men and women together, but you train or orientate the man to understand that there is always a gender imbalance, which the average man can actually help correct. Then it goes pari passu. So we should not forget that. Empowerment from ground up. Another thing is that we can look at policies that can be implemented to foster online environments that are safe and inclusive for women, addressing issues like online harassment and gender-based violence. Gender-based violence is something that is rampant within the community, and this can always be stamped out by creating safe online spaces. You and I can start this advocacy as part of Beyond Saving Lives objectives to ensure that women do not face two things. They do not have to face online harassment. They do not have to face gender-based online violence. because they are gender-based online market. A man chatting with a woman and being sexist in his mode of speech that makes the woman uncomfortable, and other things. Even posting of certain things online that could actually destroy such people and lead them to such issues like committing suicide. We will get to this part, not that discussion entirely, how you can actually take off those information from the internet and not lose sleep over it. Moving forward, community network can prioritize content and applications that are relevant to women's interests and needs, such as health information, educational resources, and economic empowerment tools. Of such nature is one of the mobile phones that was created by Nokia, which can speak in the native dialect, Yoruba language, Igbo language, Hausa language. I remember my grandmother, she knows where to press to know what time it is, because the phone would speak in a Yoruba dialect. And that helped a lot. It helped, to allow her understand what the time was. It also helped to give us some information, because once in a while, the phone in question would release an information that would be, based on either health issues, and she would listen to it. It educated her on Google. Our whole role is to ensure that we promote relevant content and applications that are gender sensitive. You and I know that we get text messages from either MTN, Globalcom, Airtel, and the likes. We can actually send MMM multimedia messaging that will deliver into phones of those in the rural area who are a little educated or not educated, that would educate them and empower them. If we begin to push, if we begin to play in the area of policy, using the community network platform, it would not just sell our foundation, it would also empower you and I to be able to play a role in an industry they are still looking for more advocates. At the moment, I have you on the internet, you can hear me. And so by tomorrow, if you decide to take a steward, the role of a steward in this particular fight or struggle or advocacy, you'll become an ambassador of a gender-sensitive ICT policy, especially using the community network platform. Another thing is targeted policies that can support women's participation in the digital economy. This is making money by training them, by giving them to access online marketplaces, and to support female-led businesses. These are economic opportunities you and I can create on this foundation. Now, where are the key areas for gender-sensitive ICT policy in community network? What are the key areas? I will list them out and briefly explain them because they are quite a handful. Accessibility and affordability is one of them. To implement this kind of policy, you have to look at the pricing, you have to look at an area of subsidy, and making internet access affordable for low-income women. And there is a word that we use for it. We call it, I don't know why the word escaped me. Free zone. We call it free zone. MTN comes to a particular area, puts the internet there, you can access the internet for free, but they also want to benefit from it. So that's a long talk that we can make brief by saying, when you sell data that you have given to me earlier for free, I become addicted to it in such a way that I know it will promote my business. But at first, you must invest in me. So that's why the free zone would go a long way to help the average human become someone who can participate in accessing the internet and it being available. We all know the price of data. I appreciate all of you here for spending so much on your data to just be here this night. Another thing is when we establish access points within communities and location, considering women's mobility and safety concerns. I think you can't tell me from Abeokuta to go to Lagos because I want to access a free zone. So those industries and companies must come to my village and be able to create points. But they can't come without Beyond Saving Lives Foundation. Advocates like you who would be able to develop documents and say, come around, do this, do that, you get your profit. But we are doing it as a non-profit. Now, there are opportunities for sponsors to see what we are doing and begin to say, yes, let's support what this set of advocates are doing, which is the real cost behind the community network, a platform where you can be able to touch the grassroots and be able to leave something in them. Now, because there are layers of such individuals, there is the digital literacy and skills development area, which you can always play a role. And when you design a policy that offers targeted digital literacy training program, especially for women, addressing their specific needs and schedule, timing. Now, before doing that, we would of course have conducted a need assessment. The need assessment would push us in the direction to ensure that we're able to achieve within a limited period our purpose. Also, we provide membership and peer support networks to encourage women engagement with technology. For example, WhatsApp. So if there's a layer of women within that area, either rural or urban area, who can use the WhatsApp, they become our own channel to speak into that layer of women who may not be educated and may not be able to read, but they understand that we have connected them. I'm talking about connecting them, when we use the word peer. It provides an area of mentorship to encourage women's engagement with technology. This is very, very important for us. You and I, as advocates, begin to say, oh, I have a network of people. I touch A's life, A touches B's life, and the domino effect continues in a positive direction. Some other things that we should also not neglect in the area of content and application. We prioritize the development and curation of local content that is relevant and beneficial to women. We support the creation of application and platforms that address women's needs in the areas of health, education, and economic empowerment. We also looking at online safety, which is a very key topic, a burning topic. One of the burning topics, apart from the next one that I also mentioned, is online safety and security. We implement clear guidelines and mechanisms for reporting and addressing online harassment and gender-based violence. We promote digital safety awareness campaigns targeted towards women. Mind you, this creates a room for us men to participate as men supporting women and ensuring that the future of women and the future of our nation is safely in the hands of those that understand gender balance. This is the key target. One of the other issues that is making more impact today in the internet ecosystem is governance. And there's no way you talk about governance, we'll not be talking about participation. When I entered the WhatsApp group there, I noticed, there was a call. Oh, yeah, let's move, let's start. That is governance structure. And I noticed that someone presented me, read out my brief CV and, just to introduce me to the general house. This governance issue is something that must not be handled with levity. We must ensure women are actually represented in the governance structures of community. When we start from the grassroots area, we build a speed that takes us to the higher echelon. We must encourage women participation in decision-making process related to the network development and operation. And how do we measure this? What are the indicators that we are supposed to look out for if we are succeeding? If we begin to succeed at Beyond Saving Lives Foundation, what would we point at? Oh, that's an indicator that we are doing the right thing. Increased female connectivity, which can be measuring, provided we open up a line of discussion with the internet service providers. And we also have a platform that allows us to say X number of women are connected in this particular community. That becomes our own data to show that we have achieved the percentage of female users connected to the community network. Active female participation, which is the frequency and diversity of internet use by women in the area of education, in the area of communication, in the area of economic activity. Improve digital literacy, because the more you are informed, you can be able to measure improvement in the women's digital skill through assessment and participation in training programs. When you come to an engagement, you notice that the people you spoke to 2 months ago that you want to speak to today mentally are different in nature. The way they respond, the way they participate, there will be a huge gap to show that there's an improved digital literacy. The enhanced economic empowerment, which will be determined by the number of women using the internet for income generating activities, or accessing economic opportunities online. There was the 3MT by the Federal Ministry of Communication, Innovation, and Digital Economy that actually prioritized that there was going to be a balance between the gender. It did its best, and of course, a lot of women are now empowered, are trained to be, able to either code or be able to become technical officers when it comes to areas of this community network creation within communities. Increased access to information and services where women are able to utilize online resources for health issues, education, or other essential services. Reduce reports of online harassment, increase confidence among women in using online platforms because they know there are policies in place that provides them, with the security and tools to be able to fight legally online if they are harassed. Meaningful participation in governance is one strong issue that we mentioned when we were talking about governance. But we cannot do meaningful participation if the representation of women in leadership and decision-making roles within the community does not increase. So when we come and we sought to in the community who take role in decision-making, and the next time we come, we are seeing 15, and they are all leaders. It shows and it serves us as an indicator that whatever we have done as a foundation has actually affected the community, affected the women, as at the target audience at that particular point in time, and we can be able to move forward from there. There are cases. For example, Success Bridge Community Development Foundation. And our success before we started with, what we started with when we started, was just to bring people on board, train them, empower them, check their capability before we introduce the capacity training to them, and be able to say, this is where you channel your own strength. So when we got to a stage, we discovered that there are other community networks who are either starting or have started. The ones that have started have learned one or two things. The ones that have started are not learning anything new. They have not seen the challenges or the barriers. So not to make sure that those who are just coming in do not face the problem those who had come in faced, we created Community Networks Africa. Community Networks Africa is to address the issue of you as a new person and say, no, we made these mistakes in the past. So don't make the mistake. This is the best solution for you. Go through this route. At least by the time you do 5 of what we have told you, 4 become successful. Instead of spending 5 years to do it, spend 1 year. These are success stories that have been able to get us where we are today. And hopefully, we believe that we'll be able to see an increase in female internet users within the first year of our advocacy if we start now as Beyond Saving Lives Foundation. Concluding, building an inclusive digital future takes more than one person. It takes more than one person. Gender-sensitive policies are crucial for ensuring that community networks fully benefits everyone. Without a policy, the community network would have to survive by its own rules and guidelines. So we need to do more advocacy to ensure that ICT policies are gender sensitive. By actively addressing the gender digital divide, community networks can become powerful tools for women empowerment and overall community development. Do not forget that. Continuous monitoring and evaluation with a focus on gender disaggregated data are essential for adapting policies and maximizing their positive impact. I am doing this as a call. Let us work together to build community networks that are not just connected, but also equitable and empowering for all genders. With that, I want to say thank you so much for paying attention, and I wait for your questions. Thank you. Over to you, Madam Moderator.
Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate it. Thank you for such an enlightening section. Now we move into our interactive question and answer segment. If you have any question, kindly raise your hand using this Zoom feature or drop your questions in the chat. please. It's time for question and answer.
Okay, so I want to believe Raji is the moderator.
Yes, sir.
And I can't hear you. I don't know why I can't hear you. But if there are questions from the house, please, if you want to take the floor, simply raise your hand or simply share it in the chat.
Thank you, Dr. Akibo, sir. Can you hear me now, sir? Sir?
If you can hear me, can I have a feedback from the chat room? If you can hear me, if you can still hear me, can I have a feedback from the chat room? Thank you, Raji. So, if I've been self-explanatory, that means I would not need to take any question. And that means I'll have to hand over to the convener.
Good evening, everyone. Sir, can you hear me? This is Fatima. Hello, sir.
I think it is network because he's saying he's not hearing me too.
Oh, okay. I can hear you now. I can hear you loud and clear now.
Good evening, sir. This is Fatima.
I heard you briefly when you said, so if you open your mic.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear now.
Okay, this is Fatima. Good evening, sir. Thank you for this wonderful section. Thank you for honoring us, for enlightening us, and sharing your knowledge with us. We really appreciate you for taking out of your time to, Okay, I think we have a question already.
Thank you, Fatima.
You're welcome, sir. So, guys, let's ask questions. It's easier to answer also. Any question at all, kindly ask.
Sir, we have a question already. Can I read it out for you?
Okay, so I have a question here from the chat room. How do we reduce online harassment?
Hey.
Or how can we? Okay. Someone is unmuted. I can hear everything they are saying. I hear your little secrets. Thank you. Okay, so how do we reduce online harassment? First and foremost, when someone comes online and begins to introduce him or herself to you, there are certain ethics you and I have to observe. There are certain ethics you and I have to, and such ethics is that, one, if you don't know me and you're not in a platform where you can engage with me, avoid opening your camera. Probably if I use my second camera, you notice that I have on my camera, I have a slide that allows me to close your access to seeing me if I don't want you to see me. So make sure you do not expose yourself, one, your face, too much. So the best way to reduce online harassment is to reduce too much details that can give you away to the general public. And if peradventure someone begins to chat with you, do not delete your discussion because you feel that you are being harassed. This is a proof to show whoever is doing that. Rodia, we can hear you. We can see your video. So these are the things that you need to do to ensure that one way or the other you are protected in the first place. In managing it, ensure that you have proof if there is an abuse, so that that person can either be dealt with or be reported, dealt with by reporting to the legal structure that we have on ground. Okay, I'm responding to the question, women being able to utilize resources. Now, you have a phone, which of course we all have, that's why we're on Zoom. You must first of all understand who you are. Okay, I'm a market woman, I sell clothes. I have Instagram to market my product. I have Twitter to market my product. Now, those are resources that you could help, you could use in helping yourself. If you don't understand it, you don't know how to use those resources. Beyond Saving Lives Foundation is supposed to help you understand that those platforms can actually do this, and that. Sometimes you need to understand how to record your video, and you don't need to be a professional to do that. You just need a phone and a camera. These are for those who may not be able to, read or write, but understand the basic. I want to sell my goods. For those of us who can actually read and write, we have other platforms, sister platforms, who can help us, who can become our partners, our collaborators, and I'll mention one of them here. The Internet Society. The Internet Society is a platform that will give you to learn about how the internet works and the opportunities on the internet. They have tools that will even give you certificates free of charge. Number one, becoming a member of the Internet Society is free of charge. Becoming a member of a chapter, let's say Nigerian chapter, is free of charge. Making use of all their platforms to be able to be educated, to get a certificate that you can add on your LinkedIn page. If you go to my LinkedIn page, you see it's free of charge. These are resources that are online that you have not been able to access. And for those who have been able to access, as a member or an advocate with the Beyond Saving Lives Foundation, you need to now be able to educate others within your community. These are resources and many more. And many more. I have another question that says, what ways can technology be integrated into local education system to promote equal access for both men and women? Thank you for that excellent question. This goes back to community network. Now, for example, I'll cite a state within Nigeria, Lagos State. Every secondary school in Lagos State has a computer lab. In the computer lab, as at the time I was a volunteer teacher, has a laptop and a projector. With a good mentor or a good teacher or a good facilitator, every school would have the benefit of understanding what the computer is all about. And for 3.5 years, I used that particular system to educate and train people. I can say I have like over 3,000 students to my credit that I was able to train and introduce them to different organizations online. How does this integrate local education system? Your maths, your English, your biology, any of your subjects are available online, which means that while you may read your textbook, you will also have some other libraries online that can provide you with access to supporting your educational journey. Now, when we're now talking about to promote equal access for both men and women, we are coming back to policy. When schools want to train, they wouldn't say, oh, how many, well, while they may say, oh, how many children do we have in the class? There are 70 students in the class. Out of the 70 children, there are 20 women. The others are 50 men. Is that balanced? No, it is not. So that is why we must be, there's a word for it. We must be deliberate. We must be deliberate about training. Why we train everyone? We must create training platform that will be strictly for women, to encourage more women to want to say, no, we are all women in this class, we are all learning. There is the psychological effect of having 20 women in a class, 15 men in a class. There's a psychological effect to it. It shows more or less like, oh, the men have it. And that should not be. So while you may train everyone in some places, you would have to create a space, a platform. I hope that answers your question. We have 10 minutes tonight, and I believe the convener, when she communicated, said we'll have only 1 hour. Okay, so I see another one that is, going higher up. Thank you for this question. How can emerging technologies like AI and blockchain be leveraged to support gender-sensitive ICT policy? Now, this is a big task, which I believe that Beyond Saving Lives Foundation can take upon. The best way to leverage to support gender-sensitive ICT policy is to ensure we train more people. We create a platform specifically, intentionally, for women to come in, be empowered, educated, and advance into understanding artificial intelligence and blockchain. Once we have women within that space, it would, of course, have given us some leverage, some, not all. And this is why I say this. Let's assume the policy does not say 75% of women within communities must be trained. That's a policy statement. 75% of women within a community must be trained. When there is no policy like that, we as an organization must have a policy statement that says whatever community we find ourselves, 75% of women within that community must be trained. And while we are before we can introduce AI and blockchain today as emerging technology, we must first of all know their capability. You cannot send me because I'm educated and I'm interested in fashion to come and study blockchain. If I'm not interested, your training me would have been in vain. I am interested in becoming a farmer, but you have not given me the awareness to understand that blockchain can actually help me in my farming. Or I do not even have the time to want to understand what you understand. They will spend money in the wrong direction. It is only by our approach when it comes to mentorship that we can be able to leverage such a desire. So don't forget, capability is very, very important for us to go on this side. Oh, okay. Let me take it again and let me brief it so that the others don't feel like I'm repeating the same thing. One, we must ensure that there is the need assessment within the community. We know the population of women within the community. We check their capability, which helps us design a training to monitor them or train them towards the leverage we want to create in the first place. If there's no policy statement, we must have a foundation statement that 75% of women within any community must be trained. When we have that as our own personal policy statement and we're able to carry it out, it becomes our own case study to show to government while looking at any policy of government. And one of the policy of government that we should look into is the Nigerian National Broadband Plan 2020 to 2025. It is very, very important. By the time you look at it, you will know that we are starting from awareness, capability, then we go to capacity. So by the time mentorship comes in to bridge some of our capability tests to the capacity training, we understand that those who fall by the side may be mentored to begin to want to understand the emerging technology. And this can help us push either within our local government, within our state, within the country, the opportunity to have a gender-sensitive ICT policy. I hope this answers your question. It's a take-home for us as a foundation to work on it. And if we work on it the right way, it will help us to grow in the right direction. I see the chat room is quiet for now, and I see no hands up. And I notice we are still having more people coming in. So here we'll do our best to get the recording and ensure that we share with everyone. Any more questions? It's 5 minutes to the hour of 9.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Let me take the last question, man. I had to say thank you, but let me take the last question.
Okay, sir.
Okay, handling ICT. How can we improve ourselves in terms of handling ICT in each profession? Okay, so this may have to take a personal approach. When I was introduced to the internet, I was self-introduced. I fell in love with a system I saw, black screen, and I decided to take charge of my life. And over the years, I've come to understand that there is no area of training where ICT is irrelevant. None. So, to improve myself in handling ICT, I read psychology, by the way. I went to Bafemalo University. And by the time I graduated, I just told myself I've been self-employed since 2006. So in each profession we find ourselves, the best way to improve ourselves is to read. 1, read. Read everything, and then choose the one that you will assimilate. 2, join organization. Join organization. Organization that will provide you training materials at, if possible, free. If possible, don't always look for free. Because if it is free, you are the market. If it is free, you are the target. So don't always look for free. Look for something that is convenient. But if you get free, and I've told you one that is free, but I'll mention it again. I'm a member of the Computer Professionals of Nigeria, CPN. And as a member of CPN, it gives me leverage in so many places as an ICT expert. But even if you are not an ICT, you can still join CPN. So one way or the other, join organization. I joined the Internet Society years back. The Internet Society has chapters all over the country. I was one time acting chair of all chapters all over the world, Chapter Advisory Council, Steering Committee. I was one time vice chair, and the opportunities gave me to bring countries together. Nigeria, South Africa, we did the program together. Nigeria, Zimbabwe, we did the program together. Nigeria, Kenya, Zimbabwe, Uganda, we did the program together. That is because I went all out to teach myself, to learn. See, there is no point to learning that stops you. There's no age limit for learning. You learn every day. So in any place you find yourself, keep learning. If you go to ISOC, there is what we call the Internet Society Learning Platform. There is a body that you can refer to as ICANN, Internet Corporations for Assigned Names and Number, which you can also become a member. They have a learning platform. So whatever profession you find yourself, you can improve yourself, but you would need to dedicate time. 3 hours a week, 5 hours a week, 1 hour a day. You must schedule it and map it out. On that note, I say thank you. Madam Moderator, over to you.
Thank you, sir. That was truly engaging and educating. Thank you, Dr. Akimbo, for taking the time to respond to our questions. As we come to the end of today's sections, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude to Dr. Adebumi Adiola Akimbo for his expertise and time. And also, we might not know, and we might know, is our patron for Beyond Saving Lives Foundation. Your insights have given us a lot to reflect regarding gender sensitivity in ICT policies and their role in community empowerment. A big thank you to everyone who joined us today. Your participation made this section impactful. We hope you gained valuable knowledge change. We encourage you to stay connected with speakers like this. You can follow us on our social media and reach out to us on our WhatsApp platforms. With that, we officially close today's speaker series. Have a wonderful evening and see you at the next section. Thank you, Dr. Akibo, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.